The Carolina Panthers ended up bringing in both Damien Lewis and Robert Hunt, two of the best guards in the NFL. And in my opinion, the Carolina Panthers did a great job getting guys that are absolutely dominant football players. These guys are physical, they're maulers, they want to whoop your ass, and the tape definitely backs all that up. But it's more than just these guys are physically wanting to beat up on you. These guys are actually very technically sound as well, and we're going to get into this film breakdown where we're going to watch both guys. And we'll watch both of the different running schemes, and we'll definitely get into all of that in this video. And we're going to start with Damien Lewis first. You guys can see on this one, he's going to reach on the nose tackle. This is a zone run to the right, and he just does a great job being able to reach on that nose. In my opinion, it's a very difficult block because being a nose, you're really two-gapping this. You're really going to mirror the center. You're not going to let the center climb up to the linebacker. So it's a very difficult thing for Lewis to be able to get over here to the right side of this guy. But as you guys will see within this play, he's going to actually do a pretty good job being able to get there. So again, this right here is a really good job reaching specifically. And you can see that the running back actually ends up hitting this to the right side of Lewis. So again, this is exactly how you draw these zone runs up. As the running back gets the ball here, he now has to make the read. He can either try to force this over here to the outside, but if the play gets walled off, which it does pretty much right away from the defensive end there, the running back's going to look to possibly bend it into one of these lanes. And within this play here, he's going to actually hit it right into Lewis's gap because Lewis does such a good job reaching, right? He's actually able to reach properly. On the other end, if you guys watch the left tackle, if you guys watch the center, they also have reach blocks and they don't do as good of a job as Lewis does. That's why you'll actually see that the running back doesn't hit it back into the gap here. The left tackle does not reach. And then you also see the center does not reach on his guy. It's really Lewis that ends up winning his block. The running back sees it. He hits the gap here. 10-yard gain just like that. But this is not a one-off thing with Damien Lewis. You got another one here. Once again, he's going to reach up to the second level. And he just does a phenomenal job with the block. These are the type of blocks that really stick out to me on tape with Lewis. These are the type of dominant blocks I like to watch when I analyze tape of offensive linemen. It's just a great job. Now, technically, this is a pin pull concept. So what that means is Lewis has to reach. He has to get all the way out here. The play does not work without this block. And it's just a phenomenal job by a really, really good offensive lineman. A guard who I think is still young, who probably has his best years in front of him, and a guy that really doesn't struggle with a whole lot on tape. If you guys watch every single one of Lewis's snaps, generally speaking, he is winning. And competition doesn't really matter. You know, if it's Aaron Donald, if it's Chris Jones, the guy definitely is able to hold his own against some of the top tier guys. And once again, he can play both schemes. Gap, zone, does not matter. The guy's a very, very good football player, and that's just a really nice job reaching once again. And you'll get another one here. This is going to be a 13-yard touchdown by the running back. You'll see once again the left guard's going to reach, and he does a good enough job holding his ground that the running back's able to actually score a touchdown on this one. So once again, to me, this is exactly how you want to block this. Now, the defensive tackle does jump to the inside right before the ball gets snapped, and Lewis does end up having an easier block because the D tackle does come down a little bit. But again, Lewis still does a nice job being able to flip the hips, angle the body a certain way so the running back is able to hit that to that lane. He holds the block long enough that the D tackle is not able to disengage. And Kenneth Walker on this one ends up scoring a 13-yard touchdown. Again, zone run. Damien Lewis, a very, very good football player. All right, you guys, check this next play out. They're going to run outside zone here to the right. Lewis has probably one of the most difficult blocks on this one. He has to reach to the right side of Aaron Donald. Very, very, very difficult thing to do. Donald is the best defensive tackle in the NFL, and he's not allowing you to reach. This right here is an incredible block because not only does Damien Lewis actually make the reach, but the running back picks up about 7-8 yards on this one. Again, to me, one of the things you'll see with Lewis is the guy knows his angles. He knows how to get into certain spots. He knows where to position his body. So on this one here, understanding he has to get to the right side of Donald. Keep in mind, Donald's also playing like that long three technique. He's not going to let Damien Lewis be able to get on that side. But again, doesn't matter. Lewis is a very, very, very good guard. And you see him line up and just end up getting to that side of Donald, holding him off, which ultimately allows the running back to hit the gap. That's just a beautiful job by Lewis. Another thing you'll notice on tape with Lewis is that the guys are very, very good out in space. You see so many plays where the Seahawks ultimately called screens to his side. He's able to get out in front. He's able to lead. This one's a 39-yard run. Makes a really, really nice block downfield. Here's another one once again. Understanding who he needs to get to, understanding where the tight end is within this one and how he could ultimately help the tight end pick the yards up. This was a really nice read by the linebacker here. The linebacker's going to actually end up getting there, and you'll see Lewis ends up picking him off. All right, this play right here should have been a loss of yards, but again, Lewis out in space does a really good job. Very smart football player, makes really nice contact. This play ends up picking up 16 yards on 2nd and long. Now I want to go ahead and just switch focus and finally wrap up the Damien Lewis portion of this video and just talk about the physicality that this guy has. You know, it does not matter who it is that he's blocking. On this instance, is I believe Javon Hargrave. He absolutely crushes him. Obviously, it is a double team between him and the left tackle, but this is what you're going to expect out of Lewis. You're now going to get Lewis and Ika Mekwonu playing together. Those guys are going to crush people. I can guarantee you're going to get a lot of stuff like this. Guys that are absolutely putting people on the ground. You're getting a guy that wants to beat the crap out of the person lined up across from him. Of course, Lewis, when he pulls out in space, also does a really nice job making contact. He has so many pancake blocks that you can probably go through. If you want to analyze his tape, you guys will see it over and over and over again. This guy just puts people down. He gets out in space, he pulls, he down blocks, or he runs some sort of duo. The guy's almost always moving people. Here he is. He's going to double team this dual concept on Jonathan Hankins. And just look at the movement he gets on Hankins. Hankins is regarded as one of the best run defenders. And just look at the movement. Look at him move Hankins back 3, 4, 5 yards. That right there is incredible if you guys actually have followed Jonathan Hankins specifically. This guy does not get moved around that often. He's one of the best run defenders in the NFL. And you'll see Damien Lewis on the duo run here as the center releases. He just continues to push. He just continues to move people. And to me, this is part of what makes him so impressive. The guy's very, very strong. Here's another one. He's going to pull. He's going to absolutely crush the defensive end. The defensive end's going to fall on this one. He's going to pick up 10 yards. One of the things that the Panthers are going to use a lot with Lewis is really just pulling him and running these power runs. And it's not just Lewis. You know, Lewis is physical as hell, but you guys will see here in a second, Robert Hunt is also very, very physical. But I want to just kind of show you guys a couple more clips. This one's a really nice job. He's going to down block on the one technique defensive tackle. And you see him just straight up hold his ground. Now, this play picks up about 8 yards. You know, sometimes when these guys down block the way Lewis does here, you know, what ends up happening is the D tackle starts to push this guy back. And you get this push slowly and slowly and slowly. But with Lewis, that doesn't happen. He just straight up holds his ground. And that's the type of power that this guy has behind him. Right? He's a very strong football player, very physical. And I think, honestly, the Panthers got a steal with the Damien Lewis contract. I was surprised he only got $13 million. Coming into this free agency period, I actually thought Lewis would be one of the higher paid guards. I thought he would have ended up getting more money than Robert Hunt. And Hunt obviously ended up getting a lot more, but that just kind of tells you that, you know, people love Robert Hunt, right? And just watching Hunt's tape, we'll get into that here in a second. But here's another block where you see this guy pulling. You see he picks off the linebacker. He just crushes this guy, right? You guys see that's a really, really nice block. And this is just kind of what makes up Damien Lewis's tape, right? Play in, play out. They're just really, really nice blocks downfield. And it's a part of why I think this guy's going to become one of the better guards in the NFL as he continues to develop. Lewis really broke out just last season as he became a full-time left guard. And I think with the Panthers, he'll definitely be a full-time left guard. All right, I don't expect them to move him. Obviously, got Robert Hunt, who is a right guard, so it already makes sense. The two guys know kind of where they're going to play. But let's go ahead and switch focus now. And we'll get into Hunt's tape. We'll start with this first clip here. You're going to see that Hunt's going to be going up against a really, really good defensive tackle. And he's actually not going to be able to get out in front of this guy initially. But he ends up doing something within this play that allows this play to score a touchdown. He's going to do what is referred to as a slingshot block. So within this play, it is a zone run to the right. Hunt has the responsibility here to hook off this defensive tackle. So within this play, if the running back's not able to hit it to the outside, if Hunt hooks this guy off properly, an inside gap will ultimately develop. Now, as a defensive tackle, you're taught not to allow the hook block to happen. So within this play, the defensive tackle does a great job getting out in front of it, and the D tackle stays within his run fit. So technically, that gap is not going to be available at the moment, but Hunt is going to do what is referred to as a slingshot block. So with the right hand, he's going to pull, and with the left hand, he's going to push the defensive tackle forward, and he's going to end up getting to the backside of it. So he's basically going to slingshot and end up getting to the backside of number 98. So although he didn't initially make the block, he came back on the recovery and he just did a great job slingshotting the defensive tackle. Keep in mind, pre-snap, the alignment within this defensive tackle is going to tell you the gap that this guy's playing, right? He's not lined up here because he has to run fit out here or because he has to run fit over here, right? He's lined up in the gap that he has to ultimately control. And you see Hunt just do a great job getting that guy out of the gap. So it's a really nice block right there. Just wanted to point it out. Let's go ahead and get into the next snap. So on that last play, Hunt ended up reaching the defensive tackle using the slingshot. This time, he's going to reach up and he's going to end up picking off the linebacker. I believe it's number 47 that he's going to end up blocking. But you'll see how he kind of positions his body. And this is part of why I think Robert Hunt's a very good football player. Similarly to Damien Lewis. You know, not every single offensive lineman in the NFL understands body positioning and the angles that they have to take. Robert Hunt is not one of those guys that does not understand. He understands that, hey, if I have number 47, 47 is naturally going to follow the football. And in this instance, it's the pitch to the right. He's going to want to get over the top. As long as I beat him to the spot, there's nothing that the guy's going to be able to do, right? And you can see Hunt just stays right on top of the linebacker, and the running back picks up 9 yards. So it's a great job reaching by Hunt on that one. You got another one here. Once again, Hunt has to get to the left side of Jalen Carter. Once again, it's a zone run. And once again, he's going to make the block, right? You can see him make the block. He does end up getting off of Carter, but that's because he kind of gets bumped, as you guys see right there. The linebacker is going to get blocked here, and the linebacker basically runs right into Hunt. I say that because you'll see Jalen Carter actually makes the play at the end of this, or at least he takes a hit on the running back. But again, that's still a great block by Hunt, right? This play ends up picking up 22 yards. It doesn't work without this reach block by Hunt. To me, this is a part of this play ultimately working. It's that block right there, right? So it's a great job once again to just kind of be able to reach. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. Check this out. Hunt has to cut off block here on the linebacker, but Hunt's going to do a great job just sticking with, and he's going to end up just pushing him. And that push is enough that the running back's able to cut underneath it. This one picks up 49 yards. So again, it's not always about just making the block. Sometimes, especially on zones, even if you don't actually reach your guy, as long as you stick with him and you just continuously push him, the running back can see the cutback lane. And you can see it develop, right? And it develops because number 74, the center here, ends up reaching the nose. So if the center doesn't reach here, if the center doesn't properly get in front of this guy, the lane's not going to develop because the nose would be over here to the left side. But because the center is able to reach, and Hunt, although he's not able to reach, just pushes the linebacker out of the gap, that allows the running back right there to just be able to cut it underneath it. So again, that's a great job by Hunt, and this one picked up 49 yards. It's a really, really nice job. You're going to get another zone run here, but this time, Hunt's going to actually do something a little bit different. He's going to recognize that this defensive tackle is going to overplay this, and what he's going to end up doing this time is he's going to actually just push this defensive tackle out of there. So with the left hand here, as he's trying to reach the D tackle, understanding the D tackle is going to play over the top, the left hand, he's going to really just lift this guy up. You see him crush this guy and really put him down in the ground. The running back cuts it right off of that, and you're going to pick up 23 yards just like that. You're going to get another block once again by Robert Hunt, this time on the long three technique. Just holds his ground, 20 yards just like that. I mean, that's just a beautiful job right there once again. To me, one of the things I really like with Robert Hunt is similar to Damien Lewis, this guy understands, especially when it comes to zone runs. And keep in mind, the Dolphins ran a very, very heavy dose of zone runs. One of the things Lewis understands is body positioning. He understands where he has to place himself. And he knows that a defensive lineman, I could either reach him or if I cannot. And if he cannot, then he just seals it outwards. If he can reach him, he'll make that reach block, right? And those type of things matter, especially when you watch guys on tape. Because when you watch guys on tape, you can see the upside that they may ultimately develop into. Keep in mind, Robert Hunt's still a very, very young football player. You're going to get a great block right here. This is the power run. Although the Dolphins didn't run it a lot, they still ran it. This one was a 43-yard touchdown, and this is 100% because of Robert Hunt. You guys see the block. You guys see that he's going to double team down on the nose. As he double teams down on the nose, he's going to climb up to number 8, the linebacker. And again, it's just perfect the way he does it. The body positioning, the body angle, everything about it is just so beautiful. And it just makes it so easy for the running back. In my opinion, this running back here Raheem Mostert had more success because of the offensive line play and the scheme than him as an actual running back. I think he's a very average running back, and I think the offensive line just did a really good job on so many of these massive plays, right? And that's why you see guys like Mostert having so much success with the Miami Dolphins. Overall, I feel like the Carolina Panthers have really shored up their offensive line by bringing in both Robert Hunt and Damien Lewis. I think these are two of the best guards in the NFL. And I think this offensive line is going to be very, very good as we kind of go forward. I think this offensive line is going to become one of the better units in the NFL, of course. With that, I also think the quarterback's going to take a massive step upwards because now he's going to have some bullies up front. He's going to have guys that are going to be able to do things that they weren't able to do this past season. I think the Panthers are building the right way. I love the pickup of both of these two guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing. We will be covering this offense line this season. I did a little bit of Panthers content this past season, but again, they weren't winning a whole lot, and it's really, really hard to make content when a team's not winning. But this season, something tells me they're going to win a lot more. So we will definitely be covering this team. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.